Welcome to another in the series of the Chamber Report on Video. Timely interviews with business leaders and community organizations in the Nashua area to apprise you of their latest happenings. And we're very pleased to be joined today by Eric Valliere, the Executive Director of Symphony New Hampshire. Eric, welcome to our program.
Thanks, it's a pleasure to be here, Ed.
A lot has changed from the name to the diversity of the programming to the outreach into the community. And before we get into some of that, I'd like to talk about the success of the latest project, which was NH for Nashua, a book that came out very timely before the holidays, and from everything I've been able to gather, it was very successful.
Yes, it's been very successful for us. We set out to do a project that would engage a different part of the community than normally gets to know us through our concerts, and we were very successful in doing that and raised some money besides.
And there's still some copies available, several downtown stores as well as at your office?
Yep, they're selling steadily at a handful of the downtown stores. You can get them through our office or online, and yeah, we're really pleased. They're doing very well.
Well, congratulations on
Thank
that. Symphony New Hampshire is a new name. Well, new, it's been around now for a little while.
Yeah, just about a year and a half.
But it's to really paint a better picture of what the symphony is all about.
Right. Since we've changed our name, we've really been trying very hard to build some relationships in communities outside Nashua to try to serve some other areas with both our concerts and our educational programs. That's making progress, a little slower, but it is making progress. But in the meantime, we've also been strengthening our relationships here in Nashua through expanded programs in the schools, and also really building our audience. Our audience is up 40% since we changed our name, so it's been a really successful transition for us. One
of your programs is the string program, and what is that, and who is it designed for?
The string program was an idea from one of our string players in the orchestra, Nancy Goodwin. She's been playing with the orchestra for well over a decade, and she is an accomplished teacher of young students on the violin. And she came to us and said, students in Nashua schools aren't able to take violin as one of their options, and we should find a way to offer that to the youngest students when they choose what instrument they should play. So we spent a little bit of time looking into what it would take and how much money we'd need to raise. We got some input from the teachers, some input from the superintendent, and now what we do is we're in right now 2 schools, Birch Hill Elementary School and the Amherst Street School, and Nancy and another teacher by the name of Mary Green go into those schools, and each of them has 12 students. So it's right now a total of 24 students who study the violin in half-an-hour lessons each week. And we're slowly getting to the point where we're starting to think about expanding that to more of the elementary schools. It's just a question of how much money we can raise, how quickly.
Is it a labor of love to learn to play the violin? Or once you get into it, it's just a matter of continuing practice to make perfect?
It's probably a labor of love on behalf of the parents who have to listen to a 3rd grader learn to play the violin. It's not the easiest instrument to listen to an amateur play, but I think any instrument at that age has got to be something that attracts the student. And so we sent the teachers into those elementary schools to do demos, and we found that with 12 spots at each school, we had more than twice as many kids want to play the instrument as we could afford to pay for. So right now the kids aren't paying anything. Some of the students have to rent their instruments, but there are a lot of kids who are on free or reduced lunch program, and we've entered into an agreement whereby they get their instruments for free right now. The symphony picks up that cost.
Oh, that's great. I had a former neighbor who taught violin, and I was amazed at the varied age groups that I would see coming and going from her home to play the violin, and then obviously in the good weather in the spring and summer, while working outside around the house, got to hear some of the pieces they were playing, and then you'd see the child come out, and it would be an elementary school child, and really impressive that they were able to do so well. And It's obviously an instrument not for everyone. And in your program, what exactly is entailed with it?
Well, I mean, you're right, it's an instrument that's not for everyone. I, for instance, am not a string player. I find string instruments to be inherently mysterious. So just how you figure out where your fingers are supposed to go, and there's just the right amount of pressure on the bow. There's a lot of technical stuff, and when you're really young, that stuff can be taught more quickly. Your brain is more plastic, and it's able to kind of absorb that thing, kind of like learning a new language. And so I've been very impressed with the students. I've seen them go from completely not even knowing how to hold the instrument. I've gone to see a couple of lessons. To now they can play really rudimentary tunes. That to me is astounding, that in the space of just a few months, they're able to play tunes that I recognize in rhythm, on pitch, and actually make that happen. So they're being taught right now the real fundamentals. How do you hold the instrument? How much pressure do you put on your bow? Where do your fingers go to make certain pitches? And it's pretty impressive. I expect by next year, you're going to be able to hear a group of students play music that you'll recognize as tunes you know.